Well, we're certainly not going to lead off this episode with bear territory. That may have very well been the most brutal loss I've ever had to endure as a Cal fan. And I'm pretty sure all of you listening and watching are feeling the exact same way. Of course, I'm talking about the 34 to nothing loss to the San Diego State Aztecs on Saturday night. It's hard to fathom that it happened, but it did happen. And in today's episode, we're going to review what went wrong and try our best to help all of you out there chart a path forward with some semblance of hope and optimism. Welcome to Tell the Whole Damn World. It's Monday, September 22nd, 2025. And before we get into it today, I want to apologize to all of you. I realize we pump the sunshine a lot over here. We're all about being positive because that's just who we are. As I said to several of my friends, expectations were high, and it feels like I helped lead all of us off a cliff I certainly didn't see coming. But I want to remind all of you of something. Being a Cal fan means more than being a fan of the football team. It's about being a fan of the university. Yes, we're all depressed, but fortunately, our identity doesn't begin and end with whatever may happen on the football field. So as I always used to say around here, if you're associated with the University of California, remember that you're still one of the luckiest people on the planet. And it's another great day to be a bear. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Reza Sirafinejad. We're going to get right into our recap in just a minute, but very quickly, let me tell you a little about us and what we're all about. We're the podcast that celebrates all things Cal and the prominent people associated with UC Berkeley, known to many as the center of the universe. We hope to put a smile on your face and help you come away feeling good about your connection to the greatest university on the planet. Please tell all your Cal friends about us. You can share us on social media, and you can always find our latest YouTube videos posted directly to our website at tellthewholedamnworld.com. We're going to bring legendary Cal linebacker David Ortega, the all-time leading tackler in Cal history, onto the show now. Ahmad is out this week. I was going to make a joke about how that game put him in the hospital, but rest assured he's doing just fine. We just had a schedule conflict for today. He and I watched the game together on Saturday night at Headlands Brewing on campus. And I need to congratulate you, Shark, on being recently named as a board member of the Hispanic Football Hall of Fame.
Yes,
Congratulations, my man. That's awesome
thank you.
stuff.
It's a wonderful honor, and I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm actually very proud of it because our goal is to highlight the Hispanics who have contributed to the greatness of football on any level, all areas, and all the people that have really contributed all that they have to this great sports we love.
That's awesome. That's tremendous. Yeah. Well, that's some great news, Bo. And to get to the game, so you drove. You made that 8-hour trip by car all the way down there, right? So you got to witness that in person, huh?
Yeah, I had a big weekend this weekend. My daughter played a couple of games of soccer down here. She plays for the University of Hawaii. So I went and saw the Wahine Warriors play down at Long Beach and San Diego State. They played at San Diego State yesterday on Sunday. So sandwiched in between there, I went to a wedding of a wonderful friend of mine, and him and his beautiful wife were just marvelous on Friday night. They had their wedding, and it was great. It was fantastic to be able to be a part of that.
That's
So
great.
big weekend for the Ortegas. Big weekend down in San Diego. Unfortunately, our Bears did not
Yeah.
come through, but it's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes sometimes, but I'm glad to hear the weekend wasn't a total loss. That's for sure. And I was gonna say that, one of the things I'm most grateful for, having known you for decades now, and to, be able to kind of call you and talk to you about these things because, fans like me, and for the vast majority of us out there who've never put on the football pads or set foot on the field, to play football. We don't know what it's really like, right? All that we do is we just kind of get super high and excited, like, oh, this is it. This is going to be the year. And then, we get super depressed when things don't go well. And, I think it's really good to have someone like you who's been there and been through the wars and seeing exactly what it takes, right, to put in the work as a player to better understand how a game like that can get away from you. I mean, because I don't know if I've seen, in all the years I've been following Cal football, for us to just have let a game get so far out of hand where we just could not get momentum back and couldn't seemingly do anything right.
Right. And one of the things is I talked about this before on Tell the Whole Damn World. I talked about confidence. I talked about how confidence really predicts how you play a game. And when we went down and had 4th and goal at the goal line, 4th and 2, and we went for it, and the ball goes through somebody's hands and can catch the ball rather than kick a field goal, that starts to give San Diego State the confidence that they can do it. That started their fans understanding it, thinking that, hey, we can beat these guys. This is something, because I'm not sure they thought that beforehand. I watched them play against Washington State, and they were not crisp. They were not very physical like this. And us giving up a couple of turnovers, that changes the ball game. So I think that the confidence, and let's just say it, San Diego State routed us. They actually beat us at our game. They ran the ball on us. They threw for high percentage of passes. They had turnovers, took them back for touchdowns, and all of that combined is not going to ever win. You're going to win a game. And my hat's off to San Diego State, because they played their tails off and they
Yeah.
played hard and they went out and won that game. Okay. That said, understood. We got to go forward, right? Is it over with? Are we going to cancel the season? No, we're not. We're going to step up. Like Coach Wilcox said, we're going to get into that film room on Monday, find out why things happen, and from there start to work on building the confidence of our team back up. Now, we're not playing in another home game where we can come back and the fans going to be very receptive to them. They're going away to BC, and it's parent weekend there, and from what I heard, they sold it out and they're ready for us. So how are we going to respond? Do we respond as warriors and just come back and say, all right, yeah, you got me. I was on a knee, I got up, and now I'm ready to play. But what that takes is all week of practice, every drill they have, concentrating on what they need to fix fundamentally. I saw a couple of defensive linemen shooting gaps, which might be what we're doing, but they're running past the ball on a run play. They're running past the pullers or the double team. Sometimes that happens, and we need to fix that. They created a couple big holes in there. I don't know if you were watching in the first couple quarters, but there were times when that hole was so big, and our linebacker had gone to one side, and the back side of that hole just opened up, and they ran right through it for about 20 yards. Those are the things we need to fix. We need to be stout on the front, and typically we had been. I have a lot of faith in Coach Browning and Coach Bruno to work on that front seven, and Coach Soto to get that going. I know that is not going to be not talked about. I know that's going to be talked about. I know they're going to work on that. So fix the run game. That's number one thing. Nothing more demoralizing for a team than the offense to run down your throat and get first downs at will and then score.
Right. Well, I mean, I was kind of surprised because, I mean, it looks like heading into the game, our mindset was we were going to try to establish the run. And so you saw it really in that first quarter drive where we held the ball for over 10 minutes on that possession, driving all the way down the field. And we converted like 2 of the 3 fourth downs that we went for on
Right.
that drive, getting all the way down to the 2 before finally not being able to punch it into the end zone. And that alone, quite honestly, I don't think was what broke our back. That was like, it's okay. I mean, that happens, but we still had him pinned deep. What was really not okay, which you just really alluded to, was allowing their runners then just to break off a 10, 15-yard run immediately after that, and to all of a sudden have new life when we had them pinned all the way back down there. And then that gave them some hope and momentum. And you could see it, right, where you have these two teams, and both teams are a little tentative. I mean, I think we came in confident. We came in maybe too overconfident, right? That we could exert our will and do whatever we wanted to against this team. And we found pretty quickly that that wasn't the case. And then as the game continued, you saw them start to believe in themselves more and more until it kind of snowballed And then the 2 turnovers in the third quarter, right? The 1 fumble return for a touchdown, and then the 97-yard interception for a touchdown. And that just buried us, of course. But I want to say that you touched on this as well, the idea that you don't really know what you've got as a team. And Wilcox pointed this out during the press conference that the most important day for the football season is going to be today, this Monday, walking in the door and seeing what his team is made of, right? Because you get punched in the mouth, and how do you respond to that? Like what Ahmad always says is, so what? Now what? Now it's time to play ball. That's this is football. This is what it's all about. So I think now we're going to really find out and learn a lot going all the way back east, 3,000 miles, right? All the way back east to Boston, and see how this team performs against the Eagles. On offense, we carried the ball 31 times for only 65 yards. Now, that's only 2.1 yards per carry. And that's just not going to do it. So, we seem to really have this mindset that we wanted to establish a run, but we just weren't really ever able to get that done. And then you look at some of the drops, or we're just not coming back to the ball a little bit to make a play, or for whatever reason, just not being able to hang on to it. And some of those they're just hard plays. I mean, hey, I've never seen the field. I'm not going to critique it. Jaron Kiave Sangapolotele was 17 of 38 for 208 yards, 2 interceptions. The offensive line really started to fall apart, especially later in the game when they just really started to just pin their ears back and come after him. We gave up 4 sacks total in the game. And Jaron, don't get your head down. I know it was tough out there, but we've got your back, and we all believe in you because we've seen what you can do already. Some of the things to highlight: Mason Minnie had 6 catches for 54 yards and 29 yards after the catch, which was pretty good. And Tron Grizel, 4 catches for 91 yards, including a 33-yarder from Jaron. So if I'm trying to grab some bright spots, though, that might be it, unfortunately. So there wasn't much on offense to really kind of hang our hats on and saying we did this great or that great.
One of the great things about football is that it will humble you when you just about think that you're the greatest, or you're starting to work really well and you're becoming the person that you want to be on the field and you're doing great. And then all of a sudden it steamrolls you, puts you on the ground, and it's going to test you. What are you going to do now? Are you going to get up and fight, or are you going to lay down, or are you going to claim you're hurt and can't give it your all and don't do it? No, the great ones get up and keep going. I'm really excited to see what our offense and defensive lines do next week. I'm excited to see receivers coming back to the ball to get the ball out of the air, not waiting for it to fall to their hands. Get up there and go get the ball. I'm waiting for that. I would love to see that. I would love to see young guys step up. Young guys get a chance and step up. I want to see the running backs hold on to the ball. Ron Gould, who is one of our greatest running back coaches ever, overemphasize ball control. If you're controlling the ball, you're controlling the offense, you're controlling the defense, you control the game. Ball security is job security. And that's really true. You cannot fumble that ball. That's the most important thing. We all want possession of that ball, so keep it. I thought our special teams, our punter did a great job, but however, our punt return team on a couple of nice runs by Jacob de Jesus, we have some holding, some crackback blocks. We have all this stuff that takes 30 yards away from us. I mean, that you can't do that if you're going to be a good football team. You can't hold. You might think it's no big deal. I'm going to spring him. You have to get your feet in front of him and your body in front of that player and hit him, and maybe hit him with your hands and not hit him with your shoulder and your head. These are very simple things that the special teams guys can do to make sure we're not flagged for anything.
Right.
So everybody contributed to this loss. Everyone, coaches, players, equipment guys, bus drivers, everyone. As Steve Mariucci used to say, it's all of us against all of them. So whether it's your bus driver or the guy that flies the plane, we lost and our fans didn't do a good enough job, we lost that as well. So I tip my hat to San Diego State because they played their tails off, and then all of a sudden that place got raucous, you know. So
Yep.
it wasn't an easy venue to play in, and I gotta say that's a really nice stadium. They did a really good job with that.
You talked about the penalties, and I was surprised because in watching the game, I was like, "Oh no, another penalty." I felt like we had more penalties than we really had. The final stats showed we only had 6 penalties, which wasn't bad, but like you say, they were just at really inopportune times. Like when we have a good return, it's holding, it's taken back, we lose 30 yards there. And 2 false starts back to back that pushed us out of field goal range, where we missed our only field goal attempt of the evening, a 44-yarder by Chase Meyer. And, that is just like every phase seemingly kind of broke down along the way. And just not being able to score a single point was like just so demoralizing. It was our first shutout loss since a 35 to nothing defeat at Utah in 2019, just to put it into perspective, and just really sobering. On defense,
Yeah.
we gave up 132 yards rushing on 33 carries. So they had just about the same number of carries, but they went for twice as many yards, 4 yards per carry. And it seems like we just couldn't wrap up and complete the tackle. They got several yards after initial contact and just seemed to want it more. That's the
Well,
big
our
thing.
guys were diving. Our
Yeah.
players were diving and not staying on their feet to make tackles. When you do that, you get one chance and one chance only. And if a guy has the elusiveness to get away from you, you got no chance. So you got to stay on your feet and run through the player. That's what they're taught. I've seen them teach it. That's what they're taught. Our guys just need to remember that when they're out there, that you get so excited, you want to make a play, and you lose all sense of reality and you start diving at people's legs. Their players, however, were making tackles on first contact. And that's a difference. And then once again, that's confidence. Remember I told you about that last week. That's confidence. Going and making plays when you're out on your own, when the linebackers are running with our receivers side to side. Now, one time that linebacker made an interception because he was just running with the player. And he shouldn't have been. They went and did a 40-yard dash. Our receiver would beat him. But you know what? On that play, that linebacker ran as fast as our receiver and ran with them and stayed with him in order to pick off that ball. So it's all about timing. It's all about how you step up at times when you're needed. And I know we have a lot of great players. I know that there's times that leaders lead, and I'm hoping that this is an opportunity for some guys to not just let the usual guys be the leaders. Kedu Luave is a leader. I understand that. That's great. But I want to see some other guys step up and bring his teammates with them. Bring the teammates together, have them work together, and all of you guys together are stronger than each individual person individually. So bring the team together and then go steamroll Boston College.
I love that. You sound like a coach there, coach. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a couple things too, just to point out. On offense for the Aztecs, it seemed like their offensive line just controlled the line of scrimmage all game long. They only gave up 1 sack. So, in other words, we were only able to manage 1 sack on their guy. Denegal, their quarterback, was 15 of 18, so highly productive, 189 yards and a touchdown. And, we couldn't make them uncomfortable. Instead, we looked uncomfortable and just couldn't get settled. That was the thing when Ahmad and I were watching it together. He just kind of like settle down, settle down. Wilcox mentioned this as well, and you just really hit the nail on the head there, Shark, when you're saying that, if you don't treat this game and give it the attention to detail that's needed in every step that you take out there on the field, it will disrespect you. You will be completely steamrolled, like you were saying. And that's just what we saw. So
I learned that lesson back in the 80s when San Jose State had some phenomenal teams and they kicked our tail one year, and I was shocked. We had all gone into the game thinking, yeah, we can handle these guys, not a big deal, and they beat the crap out of us. So that was where I learned the lesson, and hopefully this is the point where our team never takes anybody else less than given the utmost seriousness to the Saturday game.
right. Well, hey, I mean, maybe that's just what this team needed. That slap across the face, just again, hey, wake up, because now we begin ACC play.
Yeah.
And this is it. So it's like non-conference games. Yeah, you want to win them all, but if you have to lose one, I guess it's better to lose a non-conference one than to lose a conference one, right? So,
Well, I want to say something about all that because the teams that win ugly are the top teams. Everybody loves winning when everybody's rolling. But when you're not rolling, that's when the tough teams pull enough together in order to get a victory. Every team will go through that every year. Every year there's a game where they don't play their best and they're just not at the top of their game, but they win anyways. We need to do that. That's when we start to feel when those parts are happening, when things just aren't clicking, somebody needs to go make a play or bring people together and just say, hey, this is what we got to do. Let's go do it right now. Boom, and go get it done. Maybe it's the last 2 quarters of the game, last quarter and a half. No matter what it is, you just got to get it done. And hopefully we can do that the next time.
hopefully. Well, next week, next Saturday, it's going to be 12:30 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday. You can watch all the action on ACC Network when the team flies back east, 3,000 miles to play at Boston College. But hey, no, thank you so much, Shark. We appreciate you making time. I know you're down there in LA trying to make some time, seeing some relatives and all that. So we couldn't thank you enough for making the time here. And I know that was a tough one, but you know what? This is what resiliency is all about. And Cal fans, I know all of us have been through it. We are a resilient bunch. So don't get down. We got to show up. And the team, too. It's like, no time to just hang your heads. You got to get back out there. And we have this next weekend to make it a memory, right? Just forget all about what happened and just let's start a whole new winning streak. So that's the way I'm looking at it.
Let me tell you this one story. So I had a couple good friends, a couple good Cal friends down there that some former players that I hooked up with, and we were all hanging out. And then we went for a walk around the stadium at halftime. Nice stadium. We were just checking it all out. And we saw players from all different eras all through that stadium. Guys from the 90s, 2000s, 1980s. Their fathers played. Hardy Nickerson Jr. saw him there, and all these guys. So it was a fantastic time down there. But at the end of it, I ran into a buddy of mine. I won't say his name, but his wife is going through a hard time right now with cancer. And a buddy of mine who was with me said, hey, you know what? I was there 10 years ago. And so conversations go on, and it's just awesome because we all prayed. We said, hey, can we pray for your wife? And he said, absolutely. We need as many as possible. And then he turned and he said to me, this is a response I've got from every Cal guy that I know that I've seen here today. The same response. Everybody coming to help me to get my back and ask me how my wife's doing. That is what we are.
I love it. That is a great story, Shark. Absolutely. That is really what it's all about in the end, right? So, no, and hey, we thank you again so much for making the time. That's going to do it for this week's football recap episode. We look forward to spending time with you again next week after our Golden Bears travel east to take on the Boston College Eagles. Thank you so much for tuning in. We sincerely appreciate all of you out there listening and watching. And remember, if you live in Richmond, please consider giving your vote to my co-host, Ahmad Anderson, to be the next mayor of Richmond. There's no question he would do amazing things for the city of pride and purpose. This podcast is entirely a labor of love and a reflection of how much we love our university. Please help grow this podcast by telling the whole damn world about us. Just tell all your friends to go to tellthewholedamnworld.com. We celebrate all things Cal and the prominent people who are passionate about the University of California. Do you feel Cal is the center of the universe? Do you bleed blue and gold? We want you to tell the whole damn world about it. Go Bears!
Go Bears.